Hello, I guess I'm live. I better start talking. I'm waiting to see, well, still not even 7 o'clock yet. Waiting to see who shows up because a lot of people have ordered my extender shortener hooks that that I made. Let me show you something first. Let's see. I've been trying to make extender and shorteners for a long time. Since the beginning, I show people how to shorten with cylinders, but cylinders are sometimes they're uncomfortable, right? Because they tend to fall off and you got to tie them on there. The same way as I've shown people how to extend bands if it's really tight and you're wondering, how is a band really tight? Well, there's some really big people using the X3, some of them. And then they can't get into the band for doing chest press, which let me give you an example of that. It would be like trying to get into this band here, let's say, and they want to use the elite band, but then when they try to get into the chest press, they can't even close. You see this? You're trying hard to close the band, and they can't even fit their hand through to get it off the chest. Obviously, there's a lot of tension in this band, and it's hard to get off the chest. So I've had throughout the years shown how to extend it with daisy chains, and so you could extend the band. People use carabiners to extend it. There's also this like almost like a claw hook that you could try, but they're all inconvenient and not very useful. They're all like a rig. That's why I wanted something that allowed me to extend the band and shorten the band. Now, that's a lot easier said than done because since I've tried many different methods, if you extend it with daisy chains or with a chain or with a carabiner, what happens is, if you notice, as you push out with your hand, if you push out with your hand on these hooks and it's really tight, a hook is just gonna, and a chain or a carabiner is just gonna move this way and that way. It's just gonna go like that, the angle. And when the hook is this way and you try to do it here, it'll hurt your hand because it needs to be offset. It needs, when you're trying to extend the band under heavy load, the the hook cannot be here. It literally has to be out here. Why? Because the angle, there's a lot of tension out here and it starts digging into your forearms and it really hurts. So it's really hard to extend that way. Everything that I've tried. So what took me a long time was figuring out how to make the hook stay there to shorten and at the same time extend, which is different. So the hook, I'm going to show you one of the hooks right now. This is one side, right here, this one here. So what you do with the hook is obviously you match it with the side that it goes on because there's a left side and a right side. You could use one hook or you could use two hooks depending on what you want. I prefer to just leave the hook on there because I'll show you what I mean now. But the hook is put this way. You see the hook goes like that. What you do is you put first the hook going like this, bring it around, and it slides inside. You see that? So the hook goes in like this, you swing it around and it goes inside. Now you notice the hook stays in place this way, like that. You see that? And look at the angle. So that angle, when you're grabbing it, allows you to hold it really nice when you're extending the band. Now what this also does is, now you notice if I set this on the ground, it will go like that, right? It just moves up, but it's staying there because once you're using the hook stays there under load. But what it'll have, all the hooks will come with this right here. All the hooks will come with my X3U rings that are silicone, and they see now the hook doesn't move. Now remember, this is not taking, the silicone ring is not taking any tension. It's just there to have it be that when you spin it around, the hook's not falling around. It's not just juggling around under. When you're using it, and it makes it easier when you are shortening the band, when you bring it around and you're first setting it up, it doesn't move from there because it's held there. But it's not taking the load. The hooks themselves are taking the load once you start actually pulling or putting tension on it. So the silicone rings are just to keep it stable while you're setting it up, which, you know, which is really nice. So you could literally have the hooks stay there. I never take them off unless you're traveling, because with the hooks on, you could still you could use this hook or you could use the original hook. It doesn't matter, because as you see, if you just want to use the regular position, you're just using it like that. That's under standard hook, right? If you want to use the further hook, just pass it through here. If you want to shorten, just go like that and hold it here. Now the band will be shortened. Now you could shorten one side or you could shorten both sides, right? So if you shorten both sides, it'll make it like a 32-inch band. So all those people asking, well, I want the new Power Force bands to be 34 or 32 inches. Well, this will make you a 34-inch Power Force or a 32-inch Power Force, the new one, because all you do is that, and now you have it shorter. But now you have the option of having be 37, be 41, or be 34. You could have whatever size you want. And you would think, let's say for the ladies or narrow people, even when you buy 32-inch bands, I train a lot of women. Women that use 32-inch bands shorten the 32-inch bands because they're too big for them. So even if you have short bands, sometimes you need to shorten the bands more. Or if you have short bands, you might need to extend the band to get into it. So I'll show you that now. Now, another thing is, I want to show that this is the original. This is the X3 Elite bar. So it fits the Elite bar. It'll fit the long bar. It'll fit the Pro and Classic bar. It'll fit this bar and the Classic and the Pro bar, which was the metal one. So these hooks will also work on it. And obviously it fits the Force bar. So it fits on all of them as far as using the hooks. So you were able to use the hooks for all of them. Now I'll show you how to extend the band if you needed to extend the band. And I'll show you how to put on the one with the ring on it. So here it is. What you want to do is you first pass the ring through it like that. So once the ring is on there, again, you line up the one you want, you bring it around and drop it in. Now pass the ring over the hook area. And again, the ring is not keeping the is not taking any kind of tension, so you don't have to worry. Was silicon's holding the tension? No, the ring is just there to keep it from moving around as you set up, and it stays in place, so it doesn't jiggle around on you and all that. So once both sides have the rings on it, that's it. You're set. Now each hook set is going to come with 6 rings. That's going to come with it. If you want to order extra, there'll be a pack will be 10. If anybody wants to order extra in case they lose them later or whatever, the pack will be 10. So now that both sides are set up, now you notice you could set this on the ground and you just hold it up, right? So now that's not even moving. You don't have to take it off and on, because like I said, if you wanted to use this in the regular position for any band, you would just put the bands here. Let's say you want to do chest press. So right now the band's going through the first hook, which is the main hook, right? This is a 41-inch Power Force. So if I'm going to do the regular one, I would just pass it through there. Now it's in the regular position. You notice I didn't have to take it off to put it in the regular position. It's in the regular position, but you notice the band is long on me, right? Because it's a 41-inch band and it has some slack. Now watch what I'll do. I'm gonna pass it through both hooks and watch how I'm gonna shorten this band to be right up to my chest. And remember, you'll be able to, if you extend it, you'll be able to extend up to like, you before breaking up to like 1,300 pounds. I doubt that any of you are using 2 elite bands for your chest press, so don't worry about it. I don't think any of you are doing that. Now it's almost hard to get in here because of how short it is. Notice now it's stuck to my chest, right? The same band that was off my chest is completely stuck to my chest now, right? So now you basically made yourself a 32-inch band. So now this is the Power Force, the new generation, in 32 inches, right? So now, you see, perfect, no problem. All right? All right? So now you have a short Power Force, which is perfect. Now I'm going to show you how you use the extender. Okay, well, that's pretty simple, right? Now remember the extender, again, even with the shortening, you could shorten one side only, or you could shorten both. It doesn't matter, whatever you want. Now I'm going to show you why you use the extender. I already showed you. This band is a 30-inch band. It's almost impossible to get into, right? It's almost impossible to get into, right? So now, this is not a 32-inch band. This is a 30-inch band. So now I will put it in here. I will put it on both sides. And you'll notice that it's still stuck on my chest. This is still stuck on my chest, but now at least it has room for me to be able to push it out. And that's a lot of tension. That band has as much tension out there as the elite band does because of how short it is. But even with the extender, now the advantage with the extender, imagine, with the extender, I've gotten it to where start with the extender on both. Then take the extender on only one. Then take it off the extenders. Eventually, you're able to move up. The same thing happens with the bands. So you could start with a band in the regular position, shorten one side, then shorten the other for like deadlift. So you're able to, again, you don't have to use the extender on both. You could use it on one side. It doesn't matter. You could use the extender on one or both sides. So depending on how much you need, how much you feel you need. How does this tension register on the force bar? The tension registers on the force bar different, people. That will always be different. So that means, what does that mean? When you use the force bar with it, don't expect to match your tension. Now, if you use the force bar only with this setup right now, the next time you'll match this setup, all right? And it might be completely off to what you've already done before. It's irrelevant because what you use the force bar for is to know from one exercise that you just finished doing the last time to this time. So in other words, from one setup, don't use the force bar, oh, because my trend, forget the trend. It's, let's say you want to use this band now. Well, you set it up the first time, it's going to give you some, and let's say you're using both. It's going to give you a baseline. The next time, beat that baseline in this situation. All right, because it's going to be different than if you set it up with another one. So it will work with a force bar, but you have to understand that the numbers will shift on you. But that's irrelevant because all you got to do is match it the next time or beat the next time in that setup, because the number is not going to match a force bar without hooks. So in other words, if you want it to match, you got to use the force bar with the hooks, and you got to use the same setup. If you use only one side has the tension, let's say only you're shortening one side, then you got to beat it the next time with that side shortened. You got to know that it's going to give you an off thing, but you're trying to beat that. So you got to keep track of that in your notes. All right. That's just the way it works. If anybody goes to the link that I posted, they could actually get in here and ask me questions in person. They could actually come and ask, if you just click that link that I put there, you could actually show up here, and then I could ask you questions in live. So you see how you could extend the band if you need to extend it. Now, for other advantages, let's say you're doing deadlift and you want to have a shorter start, right? So let's start with a shorter band here. But at the same time, you want a higher tension on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use two bands, right? One is going to be shortened. The other one is actually going to be lengthened by going on the bottom hook, not the top hook. This is my 2-inch, this is my this plate right here that you see here actually only weighs 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds is the best plate you could ever have. So now, the white band is shortened, right? But the gray band is only going to add tension to the top, right? So now you have a low starting point and higher tension at the top. So here there's tension here because the band has tension, and a higher tension at the top because the gray band is adding it. So you could use it to off shift your deadlifts to where you have lower starting tension and then higher starting tension at the top. So you shorten one band, but then you put a heavier band on the outside, on the short ones, on the lower hooks, and now you have a lot of top tension, but you have a longer range to keep trying the deadlifts, which is really good for those doing the 5-set program that you want short range tension like down here. Now you could still have high tension and low tension at the bottom, so you could get those diminishing range reps. Another thing, on one of the things I really like, which is on curls, you know, we've all gotten used to having the bands scrape us when we do curls in our knuckles right here, because the bands right here, once it's under tension, it slides and hits your knuckles sometimes. So sometimes that cuts up your knuckles. Well, just put the band here. Now you no longer have that issue. Now when you curl, that band's never touching your knuckles at all. Just adjust the band or use the appropriate tension that you need. But you'll be surprised. You notice that the band is actually further away, right? Or lower to the ground. What happens though is that since the band goes outward, the pull is actually further away from you, it actually becomes harder at the top, which is really weird. But so again, when you do curls this way, you no longer have the band snapping your knuckles, which is when you're doing heavy, sometimes it becomes uncomfortable. Sometimes you hit your knuckle here and it starts bleeding and it becomes uncomfortable. With this, you won't have that issue. You won't have that issue at all. Anybody else have any kind of other questions about what else you could, because there's a lot that you could do with the extenders, and I will have the straps that then allow you to do double banded or like really heavy squats. You could do front squats or back squats since you could control the range. Since you could actually control the range, the straps will hold the hooks, and then you adjust the height, and then you could really do really heavy double banded. Just like if you do with the belt where they're doubled, you do double banded squats. And that is really good because now you could adjust the position that you want the actual starting point from. So if you wanted to start right here, right here, right here, wherever you wanted to start, you could start it and have it be really heavy because you could adjust the straps to do it. The straps I'm working on right now because I had to wait to get the actual, I had to wait to make sure that this was actually going to be feasible. All right, that it was going to be able to be done. I wasn't going to make straps along with this thing. And then, you know, it's already tough. It's been really hard to even get it to be made. And I know all you guys know the tariffs have made it even tougher. So, and incredibly enough, you might think, well, why don't you, I've sourced from 20 different companies. No one could do it here. No one can do it here. And if they, the price to even do a sample was so outright ridiculous, like into thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to do one hook that it was not, what are you talking about? Like you couldn't even get it done. So I had to it took a long time going back and forth, unfortunately, to get the right setting because I wanted it to be perfect and I make sure that it wasn't gonna mess up anything. It doesn't scratch. This is the really high-end aluminum that doesn't scratch this one here at all because this is all smooth and no matter how much you jiggle it or whatever, it just doesn't scratch the surface of the original hooks. And it's very light. So in other words, it's less than maybe less than, I don't think it gets to half a pound. It doesn't even get, it doesn't weigh anything. It feels like it's almost air. It doesn't add any actual weight to the bar. But they're very strong, very sturdy. And like I said, once the hooks are the rings are there, they stay in place nicely so they don't jiggle around on you. Because I didn't like that they move around too much and people are gonna feel uncomfortable with that. Even though that's not what's taking the tension. The tension's taken once you apply tension. So in other words, it's just that the rings will keep it in sitting in place so you could set it down and forget about it, or whenever you're actually just doing this to it, when you're first setting it up, it doesn't move around on you. So it's more comfortable for you. So once the rings are there, it doesn't move from there. So again, you could leave it there. You could take it with you. Obviously, take them off when you're traveling. But otherwise, you could just leave them on there the rest of the time. It really doesn't matter. And like I said, you don't have to, you could only be shortening for one. Well, the reason I tell you don't have to take it off, because if you use this hook right there, now you're using the original hook. It doesn't matter. Now you're using the original hook. So if you don't have to shorten a certain exercise, just leave it in the original. If you have to extend it on one, use it here. If you have to shorten, then you use it. So you don't have to take it off and on to do that. Anybody have other questions? And also, if you have problem with your grips, the grip adapters are great. That helps a lot of people that have wrist issues or any kind of pain in the elbows, because it helps you adapt the grip. You're only going to use as much as you want into the palm of the hand, that as much help as you need. Everyone has different size hands. Everyone would use a different size grip or move the grip to according to what they want. Why don't you get on the call, Mark? Go on the link and then talk. Makes it easier. Yeah, they're really nice. They're really, it has helped me a lot because I use them a lot for, I've been testing them for a long time. It gives you a lot of priority, especially if you travel. Now, when I travel, I no longer have to take the short bands because I don't really need a short band for anything that I do, considering I could shorten it. Now that I can shorten it, I don't need to take the short bands. I just take, I just take this new, because these new Power Force are awesome. Especially that Elite band is a monster. That's not one you want to shorten too much, but you can. You could use it to shorten the Elite band, all right? So you could shorten this one, all right? And it handles it just as well, or you could extend it depending on what you want. But I don't see many people going to shorten this one. Usually if I shorten it, I like to put it under the accelerator rather than shorten it with the hooks, but it does shorten this one too. Hello,
Can you
Mark.
hear me?
Oh my gosh, there he is.
What's
Man,
up, man?
what's
How are you?
happening? Good, good. How are you?
Man, I've been watching these shorteners for like 2 years.
Nice.
I've been seeing you talk about them, and I'm excited.
Well,
I bought one. I don't know. It was like 2 months ago, 3 months ago when you put them for
first
sale.
took it out, yeah. It's just taken a long time to get them to make the right thing, but now it's finally happening, which is amazing.
That's
So
cool. I'm
now, what is it that you wanted to do most with it? You want to extend it or shorten? What is it you're looking for?
so I'm 5'8".
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super thin, but I feel like I would want, like, on so for example, on the chest press,
You need to
I,
extend because you look
I
wide, you look big.
I would want to actually shorten sometimes, like on the
Okay,
black
on
band.
some to shorten, I'm probably on some, because I've seen some people that are 5'6", they have to extend because they're naturally wide. Not that they're
Yeah.
fat. I'm telling you that they're wide shouldered. They're wide. So people think that it's height. No, sometimes you could be small and be so broad that you require to extend it. Like the soccer player that came here, I showed once a rugby player. That guy like deadlifted like 700 pounds. That guy was huge, right? He
Yeah.
was so wide he couldn't get into the bands, but then with the extender he was able to get into the bands. So you see, even if you're short, you could be just very wide or very muscularly wide, and it becomes very hard to fit into the bands in chest press. So it
Yeah.
will help in that.
I don't necessarily, for me, it's not difficult to get in there, but when I get to the end of the, like I can do like, 30 reps, 40 reps,
Mhm.
I want to be able to shorten it a little more, put a little more tension on the band instead of moving up a band or adding a second
Yeah, yeah.
band. Like,
That's what it works good really for, because you could now you have different steps to even the same band. So you could have the
exactly.
band start out in one position, then short on one side, then short on both sides. Now you've really done all the steps you need to, and then go to the next band.
Yeah,
So,
that's the main reason I want it, is to be able to have the nuance, just a little more tension without changing bands, without
and the same thing,
adding a
as you
second
saw that
one.
I just showed, that you could use two bands, one shorter, one longer, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
You could
Yeah, it's
shorten
very
them.
cool.
You could do the same thing in chest press I've already done, where you shorten one, really light one, but then you
Yep,
use a head. Now, that way, when you finish, you could finish with those lighter reps here, but you have the other one that made it really tough at the end, but you still have the weak one that you're able
I
to get
love
into
it.
the back end. So you're able to do like tricks like that help you out.
I love it. Yeah, it's really good. Very smart. I'm looking forward to
There, especially for deadlift, for chest press, it's really good. For curls, if you ever had a problem with where it hit your knuckles, that takes care of that. Because now
it. You
you put
said
it on the
like
lower
heavy.
one.
You said when it was heavy curls, it had a problem. So maybe I haven't gone heavy enough yet because I
Okay.
haven't.
Well, it sometimes happens and sometimes doesn't happen. But when you notice that it happens, then it happens to you for a couple of weeks, because the first time it happens, it hurts it. It like scrapes something in the knuckle, and then it keeps on hitting it. Somehow it keeps on finding that stupid knuckle. And you're like, man, stop that. Now when you do it like that, now you don't even if you use the band here, it doesn't mean that it's longer, because you could bring it out the other direction. And now what happens is you go like that and you have it shorter. You see how now you're going like that,
Yeah,
and you're still going across, and you still now you have a lot of tension, but you're not hitting that band at all.
I would imagine it's the same on the overhead press too, because it does bother my hands on the overhead press.
Well, yeah, you could use the same thing for the overhead press. You could
Yeah,
keep it on the other, and it'll keep it away from it.
so that's where it does bother my hands, is more than the curls and the overhead press. When I go up with it, I have to tuck my hands underneath, but I see how it has a little spacing now, so it'd be much easier.
Yeah. So it's good for a lot of things. Like I said, the rings help you keep it there, and you don't have to worry about it. Because if you take off the rings, what happens is, if it's just sitting there free floating, out here, it's just gonna fall. Until there's tension applied, it's moving around. So that's what the rings are for, is just to keep it in place. While you're setting it up. It's not that the rings are not holding any tension. It's just that they're there to keep it from jiggling.
Very smart. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting them and trying them out. And
Have you tried the grips?
no,
You gotta try those. If you have any, well, some people don't have any issues, so you could. What's good about them is that you could set it up for like tricep or bicep, whichever one you favor or what you need. If you're doing close grip benching, I would, instead of usually chest press is done with the outer one like that, and you grab like here, right? So you can push into it. But if you're doing close grip, like grabbing here, you're better off having it almost the opposite way, because what happens now, it puts the angle into the right spot as you're pushing out. Because now by grabbing here, the hand here is helping you push into the area of the hand that you really need to extend out when you're doing close grip.
so the only challenge I ever had on the bench press or the press is I had a black Power Force and a white Power Force band. I had the white one shortened to try to get more
Uh-huh.
tension on the bottom, and my thumb came off. Like my thumb
Your thumb
slipped
came
off,
off, went back.
and it just like snapped, hit me in the chest, the whole bar.
Yeah.
That's only happened to me
It's
one time.
it's happened to everyone somewhere on the way when you're using a lot of tension. It can happen. It's happened to me like more than a couple times, because it's because of the way the tension moves on these, which is different than understand a barbell that we're all used to benching with is free floating, but it's each side's independent, right? here the tension is really moving one way, right? You see how they're both hooks are aligned, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is sometimes when you push the tension here, imagine that, this is supposed to move like this, but sometimes this stays in place, but you slip like this.
Yeah.
You see this slipping like this? So
Yeah.
when you slip like this goes like this, and there goes your thumb's not gonna hold it like that because it never fails like this. You see, it never goes like this and goes back on you. It goes
Right.
like this, and then this snaps back on you because as soon as you go like that you overshoot it, and this got snagged. If it stopped moving, because what happens is, remember, this is moving and it's spinning, and you're keeping it there and it's allowing it to spin. But if this stops spinning and you're
I
still
see.
pushing really fast, then you overshoot and you go like that, and that'll let it go. So you got to really be watching that your momentum is not going like this
Well,
into the bar, because you'll spin it and you'll
th-
curl your hand.
yeah, since it happened, I've been very conscious of
Yeah.
it to make sure that my wrist is locked
And
and
and I'll tell you right now, it'll happen more depending on the angle, on which way the hook is facing, whether up or down. Because the same way, if you want to get more reps on deadlift with your hand by itself, the hooks have to face you. If the
okay.
hook is not facing you and the hook is facing out, I guarantee you're going to get less reps holding the bar. Why?
Interesting.
Because it moves differently one way and the other, right? One way, the bar actually moves away from you. The other way, the bar moves into your grip. So one way is helping your grip, the other way is trying to open your grip. So with the hook's facing you, it's
Okay.
helping your grip. If the hook's facing away from you, it's twisting outward, opening your hand.
Interesting.
And I know there'll be a discrepancy of 10 to 15%, and that's a lot of
There's
reps.
a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot of reps when you take everything else out of it and you go, well, what's the difference? Literally, what's the difference is just the way the hooks were facing. Then whether you have chalk or not, right? But literally, the hook facing one way or the other is going to affect that grip 10 to 15%. So the same thing will happen with the chest press, depending on which way. In chest press, you want the hook facing upward. If you ever do the hook facing downward, you will have more tendency to do the shift forward.
You'll have to pay attention to that. Thank you. That's great.
All right. All these things that I've seen happen all the time. How does it happen? It happens on just because of certain ways that the hooks themselves move.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
It's awesome to meet you, buddy. Where are
Yeah.
you at?
I'm in Los Angeles, South LA.
Oh, I'm going to Los Angeles in 2 weeks, I believe. Yes,
Where you
in two
from?
weeks.
Where you at?
I'm in Orlando, but my daughter's graduating UCLA in 2 weeks.
Oh, very cool.
My
Very
daughter
cool.
was. I just finished taking her 2 years ago, and she's already graduating 4 years in 2 years. It's like, man,
Wow.
you did it so fast. I'm like,
Beautiful.
yeah.
That's
So I'll be
amazing.
there. I believe on June the 12th through the 15th, around there.
I leave for St. Louis. My son has a soccer tournament, championship soccer tournament. He's 17, so I'm going up there to
Nice.
watch him for 4 days. So yeah,
That's cool. All right.
but
You got
enjoy.
any other questions on forum or anything? Any other move you do?
Man, you're so available online. I appreciate it. So thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
man.
Pleasure.
Anybody else want to get on here? Let me see. Anybody else? All right. Again, we were going through the hooks to extend and shorten. Let me see if I could see. I'll show again how to shorten. I'll show that you could shorten one. No, you could extend one side and not the other. So here we're only going to extend one of the sides. Well, if you're going to extend one of the sides, your best bet is to first put it on this hook, the main hook, right? So now it's on the main hook. That's not on this hook. Leave the extended side for the one you're going to put around. So you could pass it around your back and put it here. All right? So now it's extended on this side, only on one side. You could extend one side, you could extend both sides, whatever you want, it is that you need to extend. Now this band is really tough, so extending one side is really hard, but All right. So you see, it works great for that for people that have always wanted to do the elite band, but they can't because it was too tight on them. You could use this extension. You could start with both sides, or you could start with one side, whatever it is you need, and work your way to the main hooks. Again, you could leave the hooks on there if you need to. They don't have to come off. So that's extending. This is shortening. To shorten, and again, you don't have to shorten both sides. To shorten, just go like that. So now the band's going to be shorter. If you put it here, it's going to be shorter by, let's say it's going to turn it into like a 37 inch, 35 inch around there, 36 inch. If you shorten both sides, it'll turn it to like a 32 inch, 34. Okay. And you might think, well, they sell 34-inch bands. Yeah, but let's say that, or 32-inch bands. Let's say you're a woman. All the women that I train, when they use chest press, when they do triceps, when they do a lot of the moves, they still have to shorten the 32-inch bands. So don't think that just because you have a 32-inch band, you don't need to shorten, because all the ones that I train need to shorten because they're narrower. And even the 32-inch bands don't work. Some of them got 20-inch bands, but now the 20-inch bands are too short. They're uncomfortable, right? So now, whatever bands that you have, you're able to have options of shortening or extending, whatever it is that you got to do. So now, again, to shorten, all you do is like that, and then bring the other one over. Now, do the same thing on the other side. Now you have the band shorter. And you will see that this will make it to where it's almost stuck to my chest. Boy, it is actually. So it went from being away from my chest completely to having now it's stuck to my chest, right? So now it's a 32-inch or 34-inch Power Force band. So if you guys want the 32-inch or the 34-inch Power Force second generation, well, you don't have to buy one. You could just buy the Power Force bands. Now with the hooks, you have a 41-inch and a 32-inch or a 36-inch, depending on how you want it. Because you're able to shorten one side or both sides. So you're able to progress that way. Plus, once I have the straps, I'm going to start making the straps now. Then you'll be able to do double banded, really heavy front squats, back squats, whatever, because you'll be able to adjust the actual length of the hook. So you'll be able to do a front squat here, but the hook's down there. So you have the band doubled rather than singled. And again, I showed how to get the hook on here. The hook fits the long bar. It fits the force bar. It fits, if you have the original bars, it fits the original bars and the pro bar. And it fits the elite bar. So it fits all those bars. So whichever X3 bar you have, now you have, the hooks will work for it. The hooks will come, each set of hooks comes with a set of X3 rings. These rings are silicone rings that go around here. They will mess up your band, they will mess up the hook, but they're here. They're not there to take any tension, don't worry, but the silicone is gonna hold it. No, the silicone is there to hold the hook from moving up and down. So it stays in place and it's not so you leave it there. You don't have to take it off. When you wanna take it off, all you do is take off the rings first. And then you slide it off. And then slide the other ring off. So that's it. So now it's off. I'll show you what the rings are for. Okay, the hooks. You want to go, the hook goes with the side that it's on, right? Because the hooks there's a left side and a right side. So what it is, you match it up like this. You go you stick in the back end first, rotate it, spin it around, and like that. Now, this is why I have the silicone rings. Notice, if the hook's just there, it moves around. Now, this doesn't really matter that it moves around, but it's uncomfortable. But it moves around until there's tension applied. Once there's tension applied, it can't fall off, right? Once the tension's there. But if you're first setting it up, and all you're doing is setting it up. It's gonna move around on you, and it's uncomfortable. You see, it's uncomfortable to have that. That's why the silicone rings are there. You put the silicone ring in first, the first one. You slide it to the back. Once it's on there, you snap the first silicone ring on. And then you snap, then you pass the other one with the silicone ring. Now, once that's on there, once they're on there, it stays there and it won't move around. Now, they won't move around on you. And they'll stay there and you won't have to worry about taking them off or on. The reason I say that is because, remember, even with them on, you don't have to be using them. So you don't have to take them off. You only, let's say that you only use it for tricep. You shorten for tricep. But on the other moves, you don't. You can leave the ring, you can leave the hooks on there, because if you want to use the regular hook, you just pass it through there. So now the band's in the regular position. It doesn't matter, right? That's in the regular position. You could use whichever of these hooks you want. You could use the main hook, you could use the bottom hook. You could leave it on there and not shorten, or you could, once you need to shorten, then you shorten. Now you're shortening it. All right? So now you're shortening it. That's okay. All right? That's how you shorten for a single, a single leg. And it's really good for all those that want to do the shorten the split squat with the bar, but with the new Power Force bands, you shorten it with this and you really get a good workout, because these bands are strong, and when you shorten them, it makes it really hard to do that split squat. Now you have tension starting really nice and low on the split squat since the beginning. Since the beginning, you'll have tension really nice and deep, and you won't lose tension at the bottom with this. So that's what it's really good for, because once you, now the band is shortened. Look where this tension is starting, down here, right? And I'll show you, that's the tension there. I'll show you where the tension starts with the same band. This is the other Power Force band, but without shortening. So without shortening, look at that. That's where the tension starts. Look at here. Look at the difference. It's like 5 inches to the bottom. This one's down here, and that has tension already, and this one's up here. So with that, you could use that to do your split squats, and you really get tension that's the bottom. And you could start by shortening one side, or shorten. You don't have to shorten both sides, but if you shorten both, you could shorten. First, I would start with the regular position. Get strong first, then lower to one side shorten, then do both sides shorten, and then move up a band. So for the split squats, it's really good because it's giving you a lot of tension since the bottom, whereas before, look how high that is in comparison. So your tension is starting really low here. That's what's really good about it. You have the options. Anybody have questions, please write them up, or tell me that you're gonna get, if you want to get onto the, and speak on the actual, anybody want to go on the link, just go there. If you click on that, if you have any questions on form, on any move you want to do, let me see what else. If you want to do for the hypothesis, I hate that word, deadlift. Now look how nice and low that starts right there. So you're able to really get a good stretch. Look how nice and low. So the tension's down here. You're getting a really nice long stretch. All with the same band. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The advantage is that you're using the same band. So now when you go traveling, I don't have to take a million bands with me. I could just take my Power Force, which now I have what? I have my Elite Power Force. I have all the Power Force that I need set, and not take any short bands. Why? Because I could shorten them. So I don't need, with this set right here, I have more than enough tension to do anything I want. Plus, with the hooks, I'm able to shorten it, lengthen it. I'm able to do whatever I want. So it's less things I have to take with me. So, because imagine if you have to take short bands with you to make the short, and long bands, or if you're traveling with your wife and she needs short bands, well, now she doesn't need short bands. She could have this. With this, you're making them shorter. So one set for everybody, and you're able to do that. But I won't lie to you. Women are always gonna. I would still get for women, for the majority. Not everyone's the same. I know some pretty big women that are much bigger than me. Uh, Shorter bands. You want 32-inch or 34-inch, regardless, because even women shorten 32-inch and 34-inch bands. All right, that's just the way it works. I haven't seen one lady yet, the ones that I trained, that don't shorten those bands. They start out using them, but then once they start getting strong, they need it to be shorter, and then they start shortening them. Sometimes, sometimes they buy 20-inch bands for the chest press or the triceps, because they're so narrow compared to us. So don't think that just because you have a short band that's no. Some people need to shorten bands. Some people need to extend bands. Let's say you're too small for the big bands, but then when you get into the short bands, now let's say you bought this one because you wanted to use this one. Guess what? This one's too strong, but you want to use it, but it's too tight. Look how tight this band is. I can't even get into it. It's almost impossible to get inside of. Well, the extender, I'm able to get inside and use it. I start training to do it, because don't think that bands are not one size fits all. In no way. And there's advantages to learning how to use different things to extend, shorten, to make the workout more effective for you, because everyone has different proportions of arms, of limbs. So that's going to affect everything on how you do it. Plus, if anybody has problem with their hands on gripping, these right here are what's going to solve your problem. Because you could use 2 sets or you could use 1 set, but this right here for the bicep curls are amazing, because you like that, right? Like really tight on you. Or for chest press, they go this way. Unless you're doing close grip, I will put it like this, grab this way, and then it forces this side to hit more. Also, if you're doing the reverse bench press, this helps a lot, even with the long bar, because it allows you to grab it more. Exactly the same way. So if you're using reverse, I will still do. So for reverse, I will have it like that, because now it allows me to grab this and really reverse. You want to push outward. I would always use for reverse the long bar. If you're using reverse like Mike Wasney is showing, always use the long bar, because it's very hard to do reverse with a short bar, because of the angle that you're trying to actually move. It'll be too uncomfortable for you, because the reverse, you got to really be pushing this like literally more out. So it needs a longer bar, or else your wrists are really going to get affected. They're going to be impacted by the bar. This is how we use the reverse. You see this? The reverse, instead of putting the grip like this into your palm, you grab the opposite side of it like that. But now it's forcing the grip, the palm, since you are holding the palm more out, it's forcing the palm to push as you use the reverse, as you go into the reverse bench. It's really good for that. And remember, it fits any and all the X3 bars. If you have any X3 bar that you've ever had, if you have the Pro bar, the Classic bar, the Elite bar, the Force bar, the Long bar, this type of bar, surprisingly enough, it even fits. If anybody has uses this cheap little traveling one. It even fits this one. This I think that Gecko bar. It actually fits the Gecko bar. I don't make the Gecko bar hooks bigger because it actually fits it. I'll show you. Let me see. Hold on. So with the Gecko bar, you see, it fits it the same way. And it actually functions the same way. It'll function to shorten and to extend if you have the Gecko bar. And it will make the Gecko bar a hook actually useful because it's actually bigger than the Gecko bar, which has a very small little hook that basically doesn't hold much of anything. So any questions on anything? If you have questions on form, if you have questions on training, if you want anybody wants to train anything, I'm all ears. The best way to hold the bar for deadlifting, if anybody needs to learn how to hold the bar for deadlifting. Uh, Now, here's my tip for deadlifting. If you want to lift a lot with your hands, first of all, get chalk. If you got no chalk, you ain't gonna lift. You ain't gonna pull. All right. You got to make sure you grab this bar like this in the beginning, not like this, like this. So when you set up your arm, when you're setting it up at the bottom, you're setting up like this. See this? I know it looks like nothing to you, right? But this. So if I'm at the bottom and I'm grabbing the bar, my hands is not gonna be like this. My hand's gonna be like this, and I'm gonna be spinning the hand. You see how look at my elbows are out, and I'm spinning the hand. And look at the hooks. The hooks are facing me. Why? Because if the hooks are facing out, you're gonna get less reps. Trust me. Why? Because I get more reps than anybody. All right? With my hands. Nobody's gonna pull more with my hands than me. I'm telling you this. So hands like this, flip the bar into you with chalk on, right? The reason we're doing that this way and not this way, if you grab a bar like this, what's grabbing the bar is the bottom of your hand, that little pinky area. That's useless. You want to dig the bar into the palm of your hand, grabbing it into the palm, sinking it into the palm, and curl the bar into your hand literally like this. Once you do that, once you do that, grab your thumbs, but at the same time, look at this, very important. Turn your elbows in. Set your lats. You see that? Set the lats. Look at my shoulders, how all of a sudden you turn your hand in. Let me grab this like this. So again, spinning, spinning. I see people grab the damn bar and they stand up. Those people don't know what they're lifting. All right. The first thing you do is you set up the bar and you start getting the hand into it, really into it, really into it, really digging it in. Set up, pull some tension, set up, pull some tension. Then turn the bar in, turn your elbows in, set your lats. Now, deadlift, right? So you look at my hand, how tight it is. I'm turning my hand this way, and I'm turning the other hand this way. My lats are going like that. You see that? Tight. You have to be tight. So completely one tight, and from there you don't move. You don't play. I see people moving around. No, 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 no. You don't move your hand. You don't move anything once you're set. Whenever you did that, it's because you didn't set up properly since the beginning, and that's gonna cost you. Because in deadlift, any leak of energy will cost you reps. So as soon as you see people playing with their hand sucks. Their hand's already gone. All right. So your grip should not give out from beginning to end. It should be completely. Once your grip starts going, it's over because that's your whole system is off. All right. It isn't your hand. It's because you set it up the wrong way. So you got to set it up the right way since the beginning. Get tight, get set, and that's going to help your grip. If you just grab the bar and go, you're not setting up properly, and then you go, but why is my grip leaving? Well, you never set up the proper gripping. You never actually paid attention to the grip, which is practically, I take like 10 seconds down there setting up my grip before I even start lifting. Just digging, moving. I pull a little, I feel it, I dig in, find that sweet spot. Once you learn your sweet spot, that sweet spot in your hand, then your hand feels like gold. I know when I'm gonna lift a lot, when I'm gonna I say, oh, the grip's not leaving. Since the beginning, that first rep, I could tell my grip was perfect, spot on. Sometimes your grip is off and you know it's gonna be off. That's it. But you don't change it. You stay as best you can to handle. But I take a lot of care of that because I really make sure I'm digging my grip in like that. Notice, not like this, like that. You start digging like that into you, then turn your body into that. Lats in. Now you could be in back or in down. It doesn't matter, but you gotta be elbows in, driving through. And remember, it's this that's lifting. It's not your back. You're not pulling with your back. All right. You are, hips are driving forward. Your legs are pushing the floor away. Same way as when you're benching, the benching is not, it's not just going like this. It's you literally push your chest into that move, let it come back. Squeeze your chest like you see. Look. Squeeze the chest out. It's not, you're not pumping a tire. All right. Make sure you're pushing with the chest, coming back with the chest, pushing with the chest. Don't just think that you say, and then people complain, why does my arms feel it? Well, most of the time they feel it because they're doing this. Notice if you're doing this, you're doing a lot of tricep because you're dipping. If you're coming back and your hand is like this, as soon as your hand is here and your elbow's down here, you're doing tricep. So a lot of people come back, they go like that, and then they come back like this. You notice this like this move like that. What's happening here? What's happening here is that part of the move is a tricep. You are supposed to be pushing. Look, notice the difference. Pushing into with the chest, coming back with the chest. Notice the hand, the elbow is right into that. So my chest is doing it. If as soon as I start going like this, now you are doing a lot of tricep work. So you got to make sure what you're pushing with is your chest and not, and it doesn't matter whether I'm going like this or if I'm going this way or if I'm going this way. I'm still, notice, it's my elbow is pushing and this is pushing my elbow back. It's not allowing it to go in different directions. Just like if you're doing tricep and then you go like this, you notice this now you're doing a lot of actual pushing. You want to be hinging all the time in tricep as much as you can. Jeff, Brandon, let me see, somebody over here. Uh, Somebody, well, I guess that's 4 minutes ago. I don't know if the guy's watching the live. Yes, Jeff, they're starting production right now. So I'm hoping that they're going to do me the first 250 batch because I have over 1,000 pairs ordered. Not ordered for me, but I've ordered 1,000 pairs so I could sell. They're going to do me a first batch of 250 pairs to send to me so then I could that they'll send out quickly to me so I could send to all the people that have pre-ordered. And I'll thank you, man. I'll thank everybody that has done the pre-orders. You got to understand, I'm not a company. I'm just trying to get these done for people because I know they'll be helpful for people. So I had to wait a long time to even get all the orders in. If it wasn't enough orders, I was going to just pay everybody back. But luckily we got enough to at least make them. But the tariff situation hasn't helped. But well, at least we have enough to make them. We'll be, I say they should be done. The first 250 should be done in like 3 weeks. And then they got to send to me. So I'm hoping by late June, early July, shipping them out to everybody that's pre-ordered. Anybody have questions? Rich, do you have any questions on any form or any of the moves? On if you guys want to do a really good bicep curl with the bar, I will be trying to put the band as far behind you as possible and walk yourself into this, walk yourself forward so that you could lean forward and almost have your hand behind you as you curl. Best would be to actually have like literally like here. That hurts a lot if the angle of the curl's coming from over there. So imagine the band was over there behind you and you're here and you're curling. That's extremely hard to do. But the same thing, if you get the band to be as far behind you as possible and you're here and you're curling, that's extremely hard on the actual arms to buy to for your bicep. There's many different tricks that you could do with it. So if anybody have questions on your form, on how to grip better, how to for squats, okay, definitely. The majority of you are gonna need risers, right? Let me get some. Let me get some right here. Almost everybody needs risers, and that's heel-lifts. Why? Because very few people have enough control. Notice my body. Very few people have enough control to go down like this. Notice that. Notice I had no inclination, right? So my body went straight up and down. Now, and I'll show you what that means. So ideally, what you will want and this is a really heavy band. Ideally, what you will want is to go straight up and down with this band, with any band you're using. Because what you don't want is forward lean, because we're not doing a back squat. So you will want to be down here and be able to get up like that. You see that? Very little forward lean. You come down, no forward lean, go up like that. All right? So down all the way, all the way, all the way, up like that. All right? So how do you get that? You have to have risers. For most of you, very few people can have no heel lifts and go straight down anyways, right? Notice there's still a little forward lean, but I'm very up and down. And that's how you have to be for front squats. Why? Because you're holding a bar here. You're not holding a bar. Let me use the big bar. You're not holding a bar back here, right? So we're holding a bar back here. We're able to go down like this. You see that? With a forward lean, because the bar is behind us. All right? So that's okay for a back squat. But if you're doing a front squat where the bar is here, if you go like this with a heavy band, the bar has to fall. You're going to hurt your lower back. That's not how it goes. Front squats are your knees go forward, you go down. So your knees go forward, 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 forward. You go straight down and you come right back up. Like that. So, but with a heel lift, that's going to help a lot more, and it's going to hit your quads a lot more, because now notice the difference. Now when I go down and I push my knees forward, look how straight I stay. See that? Basically, straight, 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 all the way. So now what's moving is your quads going up. The reason everybody does this, look, most of you are going to do like this, right? Why? Because your quads are weak. When you see somebody throw their ass back squatting, it's because they're trying to do basically a back squat deadlift style, where this is a deadlift. This is the strongest part of your legs, this back here. So you're trying to do that. Whenever you're at the bottom and you see this, it's because somebody's very strong back here and very weak here. So they go like this to get out of the bottom. You should be getting out of the bottom like this. Look. That was all the quad. The quad did it. The quad did it. All right? So you should be able to get out of that with the elite band. Like that. Like that. The quad went and did it. This is quad doing it. You see this? Right here. This quad is getting up, 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 and squeezing up. All right? as soon as you see this, you're trying to do this back area, right? So people get out of the bottom like this because they don't have their quads strong enough. You want your quads to do the work in a front squat. You let them go forward and you get out of the bottom straight up and down. All right? So the only way to do that for most people is with a heel lift. You really want to practice just getting up here, right there. And even like that, with no weight, that's super hard. With weight, that's really hard. But that's why you have bands. You're able to practice that. And notice, a lot of people, especially with bands, they put the band here and they go like this, right? So let's say most people, when they start the X3, and they put the band here and they're already sitting up. They're already breathing. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then they do this. Notice the band's heavier here, but it's easier for them to stand up because they can't go down. They really don't have the range. So now what happens is they'll go down a bit and then they'll go like this. They think that by lowering the bar, they actually did a squat. They didn't do a squat. They did this. Look, this is the squat. The squat is this move here. They stop here and then they bring their body like this. That's what you see most people doing in the X3. Right? The squat is this part of your body moving down. Not the bar moving down. The bar is not a squat. The bar is you're doing something else. So the only part that gets work in a squat is if you go like this, you bring the hips down and up. All right? So you got to really concentrate on improving your range. Is how do you get the most movement here to go down and get back up, all right? And every day you gotta work a little bit by little bit. That will work your range, all right? So do the best you can, but you gotta also know that the idea is not just more tension, but it's eventually more actual range into your squat so that you're able to practice doing squats where you're actually able to. I like to do what I call ladders, where I go like this. So I go here, below the tension, go like this, go like this, go like this, go like this, then go up. Go down, go like this, go like this, go like this, go like this, go up. See the ladder? I'm doing the ladder, building the ladder into my legs. Down. Notice I'm not resting here. This is super hard. Back up. Whoa! Even without tension, that's hard. Put tension on, and you're smoking your legs. All right. Any more questions on the actual what we're here for, which is here are the hooks. If anybody hasn't seen them, the hooks shorten, they extend. So again, you're able to use it for short bands, for long bands. You're able to make a band shorter on one side or both sides. You're able to make a band longer if you need to. For people that are very wide, you're able to keep it on. If you see, they stay on, but you don't have to take them off to use them. So let's say look, I'm going to show you what the band looks like on me. At least this one here in the regular position. So this is the regular position. This is why I would shorten this one, right? So look, and since this one's light, look how far out it is, right? See that? Look how far out it is. That's a 41-inch power force. And this one's so light that I'm able to really like nothing, right? It feels like nothing on me. So like that. But now watch what happens when I shorten it. So now it's both sides are shortened. I have to now I have to work my way in because it's so tight. Now notice, look where it's at now. Now it's stuck completely. Look at this. It's stuck completely into my body. So I went from having a space out here to look how stuck it is into my chest. Now, even though this is light for me, there's still tension. Now there's still look, even light. You see how my chest is activating. I'm going to do a close grip, which is what I like to do now. And look at the chest. Look at the chest back here. Why? Because now there's tension since the beginning. Now there's tension since the beginning. Right? So you're able to take a band that's long and shorten it. And for all those that keep on asking John Jackwish, hey, can I get a short power for second generation? Here's your short power for second generation. Now, except that now you have two options. You could have it be 41 inches. You could have it be like 37 inches, 36, or you could have it be 32 to 34 because you could shorten one side. You don't have to shorten both. It depends on what you need. All right. So that's the advantage, and it really help you for triceps, because obviously for triceps you really need range back here. Now that it's shortened, now you're actually getting a tricep workout, right? Now you're actually getting a real tricep workout because it has enough range to do it. All right. Whereas with the longer bands, you really don't have that. But again, for those that are really, for those that have the opposite problem and are really big, then you could just extend it. Because this band is too tight to get into. But now I'm going to extend it. In fact, I'm going to extend it on both sides because I'm already tired of pushing these things. Oh, I didn't have it on there. Make sure that it's on the hook. There we go. There we go. Now as both sides are on, now it's extended. Notice, even with this one extended, there's not much space in the bar, right? But now I'm able to get it out. That's because this is a 30-inch yellow, and this is a really heavy band. And don't worry, the hooks won't break because these hooks handle like 700 pounds each of them. So that's 1,400 pounds, which none of you are going to push. All right. So don't worry about it. Come to me another day when you tell me you're actually able to push it. All right. Any further questions? Wow, we ran. Get in the. Get on there. Go there so you could ask me the question live. I don't see what you're asking. I just got here about 5 minutes ago. Tell me again. Ask me. Go to the link. Go to the link so you could ask me. I'm trying to see who Rumesa. I remember who that, but I can't remember who it actually is. Ask me who. Go join the link. If it's Steve, join the link so I could see, so I could hear what you're asking me. Come on. I think that's who that is, isn't it? Call me or get on the. There we go. Thank you. There you are. So what's the question?
I don't have a question. You just told me to join the link.
Oh, didn't you tell me that you just got here and you want to ask something?
There we go.
Thank you. There you are. So what's the question? What was that? What's the question?
I didn't have a question, Mikhail. I just jumped on the call and you sent me.
Okay, do you show how to use this with a squat belt in the last hour? Okay, you want to see it with the squat belt. Well, the good thing with the squat belt is you would just, obviously you're looking to shorten the band, right?
Right.
Right? What is it? You have the new Power Force, but you need them to be shorter, right?
Go back the other way.
What? Where you go? Which way did he go? Where did Steve go now? Let me get it on there. Steve, where'd you go? Looks like Steve got into a problem, but I guess he was asking about the squat belt. We'll see with the squat belt here. Because what I did was, okay, so I'm shortening the Power Force second generation light gray. I'm shortening it on both sides. Now, you might think that's just a light gray band. I'll tell you right now, this light gray band shortened is very heavy, especially for split squats. Plus, my hooks on my belt are a lot shorter than your hooks. This belt here is a lot shorter than everybody else's belt. So now, when I start, I have tension even without shortening it. Right now, the band is really shortened, right? If you notice, look where the tension starts here, down here. Now look, I have to literally slide my way down and pull this belt up. That's how much tension there is. Look, there's so much tension even down here, right? So the tension is starting really, really low. So you notice there's tension all the way. When I go down, there's going to be tension all the way at the bottom. All the way. There's still tension there. I'm going to put my knee on the ground. There's still tension there. It's very hard to do once it's shortened on both sides. All right? So this allows you to shorten the band and actually get tension all the way, no matter whether you're up, whether you're back, whichever way, there's tension all the way at the bottom, which is really good. So right here, there's tension. So practice doing that. The bottom one, whoa, do the stairs with your leg. Man, is that tough. I'm saving that for tomorrow. So if any of you have like problems with the band being too long, now you could have it shorter and really get an effective workout. Oh, okay, Kelly. Kelly, why don't you get on there, Kelly? And ask me the belt question you have, so I could understand what question you're asking. Just get on here real quick and ask me the question, Runemesa, whatever your name is. I know it says Kelly Tinker. Get on there and ask me the question. That way I could understand. You're asking about a belt squat question, and I want to know what your question is. Will these in the last hour? I just showed how to use it with a belt squat, but I got to know how you want to use the belt. Because there's ways to use it with a belt different ways, so I got to know what you're asking. Any further questions? Once I have the straps, I will show about the straps. Now remember, the hooks will all come with a pack of the rings to hold it in place, okay? If you want to buy extra packs, the extra packs are 10. The packs come with 6 rings. You need 2 per side, so you still have an extra 2 rings inside, all right? They're silicone rings. The rings are only there to hold it and keep it from moving. All right. For when they're just there and when you're gonna set it up. Once you have tension on there, the bars, the hooks don't need anything. All right. So this silicone rings are not to hold the tension. All right. It's just to hold it in place, and you could leave it there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't flip out away. Obviously, if you have this and you have like that, it will fall off, wouldn't it? So obviously the rings are there just to keep it in place, as if you're just doing this, eating crap, right? Look, maybe you want to use it as one of those spinners, anxiety spinners. You could use it like that, right? There you go. So the hooks will hold it in place for that. If you want to buy an extra setup pack, that's $10 for the pack. There's actually a money associated with it. If you want it, but they are gonna come with a pack of 6. So if you lose it, then you reach out to me and I'll send it to you. That will include the shipping. The rings will include the shipping. So well, that's it. If anybody has any other questions, anything you might want to know about the hooks and what other tricks you want to do with it, there's a lot of things I could show, but I've already been here for like an hour and a half. So any other questions, don't forget to reach out to me. Just message me, send me a thing. I'm available all the time, so people will reach me out all the time. Check out if you want to order them, you could order them here. I don't even know if I spelled that right. Probably not. Look at that, I spelled that wrong. I don't even know my own website. Just go to the X3 website and go look for the product section. Then you could order them there. You could order the hooks. You could order the grips. If you guys want to buy the grips are there on the X3 website. Also, the rings are I'm gonna start making available the rings if anybody wants to order separate packs for the rings. And I will soon give an update on the actual straps, which I'm working on now. I had to wait for this to be set in order to make the straps, because I wasn't gonna make the straps for a hook that if the hook never happened, why was I also gonna waste my time building the straps for? So now that the hooks are set and we're good to go with the hooks, I'm gonna now finish making the strap that goes with that it'll be a separate, but it is made to work with the hooks. All right, you guys have a good night. Anybody that wants to reach out to me, just message me, send me a message in Unleashed or in the X3 forum, anywhere you want. All right, have a good night.